Hey everybody, welcome to the 85th SongBike Guitar Q&A live stream. Thanks for being here. It's snowing here. Randy, I see it snowing there in Colorado too. It's February. Hope you had a great week. I'm here for your questions. Don't be shy. Now is no time to be shy. You got a question for a guitar teacher? That's me. Put it in the chat. Put a few question marks in advance. That's how I know your question is for me. In between your questions, of course, I got some stuff to share with you. We have a poll question up and running. Question of the night. Would you learn a song if you didn't like the song? Maybe, right? One answer, never. Why would you do that? Never, right? That's one option. Option number two, maybe there's a skill in that song that might come in useful in the future. So maybe you'd invest time in a song you don't like. Maybe. Number three, well, what if your friend wants to play that song and you want to play with your friend? That's a really good reason to learn the song, right? Even if you don't love the song. Option number four, other. If that's your choice, definitely let us know in the chat. You only have so many hours of practice time in the week, in the month, right? Why would you play a song you don't like? I don't know. Maybe you wouldn't. Never. Let us know in the poll in the chat. Other things going on this week in tonight's show, in this week's show. I have a student quote of the week. I have my own dumb question of the week, as usual. A few people are coming through town at the theater across the street. Super talented people. You might get a kick out of who is in town. If they're coming through my town, chances are they're coming through your town. So I want to give you a heads up about that. What else? Should I sell out? This week I received the most tempting offer ever. I have a little tough love for you, a little segment called Tough Love from your guitar teacher. Of course, we have a play along song of the week. It's fun. It's easy. You will need a capo. Get your capo. You're going to need a capo handy at the second fret. What else? An ear training exercise based on Here Comes the Bride. It's going to help your ear, and it's going to potentially clarify a little bit about the strings on your guitar. So ear training exercise based on Here Comes the Bride, a follow-up to Twist and Shout from a while back, Twist and Shout version 2, and I'll explain, but we have that coming up. Ashokan Farewell in an alternate key. You might remember I showed you guys a version of Ashokan Farewell in the original key, D. That's the nice, beautiful fiddle tune from the PBS Civil War series from Ken Burns. I didn't love my arrangement in the key of D. It was okay, but I want to show you what it's like in the key of G. And hey, you can see if you might like to play that instead. There's a young guy out there performing, and I want to share his name and a link to one of his videos with you. What else? Some of the other Grammy winners. You guys know since probably back in November or so, I've been following the Grammy nominees. The Grammys happened 13 days ago, and some extremely talented nominees actually won Grammys, and I have, about, I don't know, a baker's dozen of those to share with you. I'm going to make it really fast, but I'm going to put links to I'll put their names and their awards in the description of this live stream. Just because, hey, if you're looking for new music, you could do worse than these, I don't know, maybe 15 performers. So many talented people. Okay, if that doesn't fill up the time, I don't know what will. Hopefully your questions will. I want to say a few hellos. Rock Lobster, hello. Joseph from, is that Oklahoma City? Joseph, hello. Rock Lobster, I know you're joining us from Maine. William Collier, thank you for being here. William, your mom is watching as well. In Katy, Texas, is that right? Mariah, hello, Mariah, watching from Katy, Texas. Thank you for watching, Mariah. Mariah is a piano player who watches us because I think she's curious, right? Why not, man? Why not? It's all music. It's all good. Pooba John, thank you for being here. Matt Delahunt, thank you for being here. Pooba John, thanks for coming to our show last Friday night. Hopefully a lot more local performances to come. We had a good time. Okay, so don't forget, now is the time. Ask your questions. It's like a free guitar lesson, right? That's what I'm here for. But while I await your questions coming in, let's jump into something. Hey, let's get into this twist and shout thing. Here's what prompted this. I get a lot of students over the years who say to me, man, I wish I knew the names of the notes all over the guitar. It's great. It's a great, a noble goal. Okay, I'm going to share the screen here. If your screen goes black, don't worry, because it's not going to be that way for long. Okay, let's see how this looks. Okay, excellent. The twist and shout exercise. Some of you who are with us 1 or 2 live streams ago might remember this. Here's why we're doing this. Okay, there's lots of ways to learn the names of the notes all over the fretboard. How about if we do it the fun way? Here's the fun way. You take twist and shout. Twist and shout, which sounds like, I got it on my looper here, looping away, okay? Twist and Shout by the Beatles. Turn it down for a minute. We got 2 Ds, 2 Gs, and a bunch of As, right? Now, instead of playing the chord D, G, G, A, you're going to play the notes D, G, and A. That's how you're going to learn when Ds, Gs, and As are all over your fretboard. For example, I'm doing the Ds and Gs and As on 2 fat strings. Okay, get that idea? You crank up the Beatles version of Twist and Shout, and you look at that diagram, right there, okay? And then you play Ds and Gs and As all over the guitar for the entire song. And, you know, after 1 or 2 trips through Twist and Shout by the Beatles, you'll be a lot more familiar with all the Ds, Gs, and As all over your guitar. My challenge to you, once you do this for a time or 2, right? Take the song by the Beatles, and by the end of the song, I don't know how many minutes it is. Let's say it's 2.5 minutes, right? Can you play every possible D, G, and A on that diagram? Can you do this, the 2 skinny strings? Or a higher version, also on the 2 skinny strings. All right? So by the end of the song, can you play every D, G, and A on the page, including the open D, and G, and A strings? Remember this? Remember how you can do this with no hands? Okay? I predict, number 1, you're going to have a lot of fun. Number 2, you're going to learn a lot of not just the notes D, G, and A, but the relationships. How very often D and G, in fact, I think in every part of the fretboard, the way it is right there, every D and G are neighbors. See that? Okay, there's a relationship. Every D has a G right next to it. Okay, so you don't just learn the names of the notes, you learn like relationships like that. Okay, get the idea? Now, look to the right. The Isley Brothers did the original version of this, okay? So the Isley Brothers did it in the key of F. Why did the Beatles not do it in the key of F? I would guess that the Beatles couldn't sing that high. The Beatles had to drop it down to the key of D. No shame there. Obviously, it was a success. The Isley Brothers do such a great version of this tune, and they're the guys who wrote it, right? So you can see when you hear the Isley Brothers version, in case you have not heard it or you haven't heard it recently, it's easy to imagine the Beatles hearing the Isley Brothers versions and think, oh man, we gotta do that, right? Okay, but they couldn't sing that high. That's my guess. Okay, so bear with me here. Okay, same deal with the Isley Brothers, but they are doing it with 2 Fs, 2 B flats, and a bunch of Cs. So then you are tasked with doing 2 Fs, 2 B flats, and a bunch of C's. F, F, B flat. Okay, so by the time you finish doing that a time or two through the Isley Brothers' awesome original version of the song, you're definitely going to know a lot about Fs and B flats and Cs, right? All over the neck of the guitar. Okay, get where I'm coming from? You want to learn the names of the notes up and down the fretboard? Awesome. Let's have some fun doing it. How many notes are there? 12 notes, right? I mean, there's a lot of sounds, but if you were to give a name to every note all over the fretboard, there's only 12 names: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then the in-between notes. See at the bottom of the page? At the bottom of the page is the musical alphabet. Why did I put that down there? Just in case any of you have any doubts about what is going on. The musical alphabet. You see there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it would continue on to the next A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, get higher and higher and higher. In between most of the alphabet letters is that in-between thing. On the piano, it's a black key. It can be called by its sharp name or its flat name. For example, in between A and B, there's a note that could be called A sharp or B flat. You choose at the moment, doesn't matter which one you call it, but there's 5 of those, okay? 7 alphabet letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 5 in-between letters, those sharp flat things. B and C, best chums. There's nothing in between B and C. See that at the bottom of the page? And E and F, everlasting friends. Or who was it who said bacon, crispy, eggs fried? Someone else said that in the chat last week. So here's why the bottom of the page is super, super important. Let's say you work on the Isley Brothers version and you're just doing great. You're playing the Fs and the B flats, Cs, and you're going all over the neck playing every F and B flat and every C. If you know where every F is, you automatically know where every E is. Why? Because E is right behind F. It's right next to F. See that in the musical alphabet down at the bottom of the page? F, 4th string, 3rd fret. That's the D string, 3rd fret. If you are 100% confident that that's an F, and it is, E is right behind it at the 2nd fret. All you have to know is the Fs, and then you know where all the E's are. Get it? Get it? So there are 6 notes between the Beatles version and the Isley Brothers original version. There's 6 notes that you probably could memorize all over the fretboard if you do it enough. The other 6 notes that aren't reflected in this song, they're waiting for you. They're right next to those notes you just played. You have to understand the relationships, right? A sharp or B flat, B, very next note is C, and so on. A little bit of memorization. You got to remember B and C have nothing in between. E and F have nothing in between. That's all right. This is a project, right? This is not homework that's due tomorrow morning. This is a project. But you can do this, all right? Now, there's lots of ways to learn notes all over the guitar. Have fun with this one. That's all I'm saying. That's all, you know? So questions, comments? Hey, Bedouin Buddha, I see your comment. I don't understand it. Maybe you can clarify that. I don't understand your comment, but I'm sure you have something to say. So you guys good with this? Easy peasy. We live in a beautiful time where many of us, most of us, have access to this music on the internet somehow. YouTube, some streaming channel. So it's likely that many of you, I see we got dozens and dozens of people in the viewing right now. Many of you can pull up both versions of this song pretty quickly. Maybe you're doing it right now on your phone or something, right? Man, play along to your heart's content. There's nothing stopping you, right? You don't have to go down to the store and buy the record, right? That's what I'm saying, you know? It's a beautiful thing. Okay, so there you go. Little twist and shout exercise. There's only one moment in either version. There's only one moment where the song is not going D, D, da, da, da. The only moment where it doesn't follow that, you know, exact pattern is when the Beatles and the Isley Brothers are doing that nice harmonizing, that right? And they keep harmonizing higher and higher and higher. In both cases, the band is staying on the final chord. The Beatles, they're staying on the A chord, and the Isley Brothers are staying on the C chord. Well, they build up the drama until they return back to the boom, boom, bum, bum, bum. Okay, there you go. You guys, some of you, I hope, are doing that right now. And last thing I'm going to say before we move on, the choices you make, which G you move to from the D chord, say if you're doing the Beatles version, it does create a slightly different vibe. There's no wrong notes as long as you're playing D's, G's, and A's. But this one, on the two bass strings, does clearly sound different from I'm doing that on the fifth and fourth strings, right? So a little bit of different personality. There's no right or wrong for our purposes. There's no right or wrong. But some of them, some of these combinations that you're going to choose to do, you might find some of them easier than others. You might find some of them to be more like authentic to the tune. But as long as you're playing a G while the Beatles are on G, or you're playing an F when the Isley Brothers are on F, you're doing it right. Okay? All right. Have fun and let me know, maybe next week in the chat, let me know how it went for you, because I think you guys are going to do great on this. Okay. Now starting. Okay. So you guys, I'm going to start a thing where I take a document like the one I just showed you, and I'm going to upload it to my website. I have a whole bunch of PDFs on my website, and I'll show you what I mean. There we go. And then you guys, you don't have to necessarily worry about screen grabs and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Can you guys see that right there? All right. Of course you can. All right. So those are all PDFs that are available to members of my website. Some of those might be familiar chord melody things. For those of you who have my chord melody book, look at those exercises, the Spider-Man exercise, the Pretty Woman exercise. How do you access that stuff? Just go to my website, www.song-bike.com. Now you have to be a member of the website. It's $9.95 a month. There's always a price, right? But you get access to a whole bunch of PDFs. Those are some of them right there. And I'm going to start, every time we do these live streams, I'm going to start uploading, PDFs, documents like this to my website, because those of you who are members of my website, you deserve easy access to this stuff. And some of you might decide, hey, it's worth $10 just to get a whole bunch of stuff. Plus the website has a bunch of videos and other stuff too. I think you'll love it. So if you're so inclined, head on over to www.song-bike.com. I haven't put the twist and shout one there yet, but I will. It's kind of easy for me to do that. I don't want to take your time right now and do it. But I'm going to, I want to make it easy for everybody, but especially those of you who are already members of my website, to access those documents without having to, I don't know how you guys might do it, do a screen grab or write it down really fast or whatever. There's other ways to do it. Chaz says, thank you. I love your website and have learned so much from it. Chaz, I appreciate that. William, oh, look at that. You guys are so nice. William says the website is definitely worth the price and more. Well, I appreciate that. And I look forward to updating it and making it better and better and better and better. Okay. Questions, comments, any questions about Twist and Shout or any questions about any guitar stuff? Don't be shy. Okay. Don't be shy. Let's check in with our poll for a minute. The poll question, do you ever practice songs you don't like? Ooh, look at that. 57%. Say sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I might learn something. Yeah. 36% never. Right? 4% say, yeah, I might do it like for a friend for a certain occasion, maybe. And 4% say other. I get that. Interesting. You guys, I have to admit, I never know what you guys are going to say. Even if I take an educated guess, you guys always, it's always interesting in how you guys vote in these things. Hey, Keith is checking in from New Zealand. Hey, Keith. Wow, New Zealand. Love it. Keith, what time is it there? I really have no idea. Is it Sunday? I have a feeling it's Sunday, right? In New Zealand, Sunday, February 16. Oh, well. Okay, you guys. Hey, while I have your attention, let's talk about some talented people doing beautiful things. Oh, Willie, I see your question. Willie, I'm going to answer your question. Then we'll talk about the talented people. Willie says, what is your favorite genre of music to play? Oh, man. Um, to physically play on the guitar, there's certain music that I just don't know how to play properly. So I'm not like a classical player. I'm not a hardcore jazz player. So that I love listening. In fact, man, I heard some beautiful classical music today, classical guitar. And I thought I should just listen to more classical guitar just for inspiration. In terms of my own to play, oh man, I mean, blues and country, country and blues, uh, rock and roll. You know, I'm a little bit of a, I love knowing the history behind things. So I love going back into musical history, recorded musical history, and hearing what people did in the 40s, in the 30s, in the 20s, you know, however far back you can go. Uh, so yeah, early stuff, man. But blues and country, can't go wrong with blues and country. And the earlier, the better. I'm on a mission to learn a whole bunch of that cool uh, steel guitar licks, but on a, you know, a regular 6-string guitar, all that cool country chicken picking stuff. If there's not enough hours in the day, but I would love to be a master of that. Yeah, nice bluesy acoustic finger picking, slide guitar. Oh, you know, I've said this, and I say it often enough. I really should do something about it. If I could only be a master of one thing on the guitar, I'm leaning toward just slide guitar, man. I got the finger, I got the slide, I got the guitar. One of these days I'm going to do it. I love well played slide guitar music so much. So much. Hope that answers your question. Keith says, yes, it is Sunday, overcast, but not raining yet in New Zealand. Oh man, I love hearing where you guys are coming from. 6-string Greg says, I spent 2 hours playing songs this morning, but not looking at the fretboard. It was interesting and the song sounded smoother. Yeah, interesting. It's always an interesting challenge. What can you do without looking? In general, you play better when your eyes are where they need to be. Meaning, if you don't have something memorized, you have to have your eyes on the paper, right? You're going to play better because you know what to play next. If you can get your eyes off the paper, off the computer screen, and look at your hands, you're going to play better because you can be extremely accurate, especially with your fretting fingers. If you don't have to look at anything, then that's a whole new world, right? If you can, yeah, it's a very cool challenge. But I find myself saying this a lot. The priority is playing music. That's the priority. The priority is not playing music while blindfolded. The priority is not, memorizing music. The priority is, sounding good, making beautiful sounds at, whatever it takes, at any cost. So it can involve memorizing. It can involve trusting your picking hand and keeping your eyes on your fretting hand. But I don't want anyone to get too hung up on can you or can't you play without looking at your hands. It's a cool challenge, but it's not the only thing, right? You get what I'm saying? Rock Lobster is asking about my friend Clay, who had a sweet guitar, right? You guys, that live stream of our gig last Friday. Clay is playing, that's his favorite guitar. He's owned a couple over the years from this brand. The brand is Nash Guitars. I'm putting that in the chat. Nash, like Nashville without the Ville. Nash Guitars, and it is a relic guitar. My understanding is that Nash Guitars was the first company to do nothing but relic guitars. And in general, I think they're all Fender style. So it's like Telecasters, Strats, Jazzmasters. But every one of them is relic to some extent or another. And he loves that guitar, man. It's essentially a Stratocaster style Nash guitar. And, hey, you don't have to worry about getting a scratch, right? I always wonder when people sell used relic guitars, they have to decide how to describe it. Is it in mint condition? Is it in very good condition? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do you describe the condition of a relic guitar? It's relic. I mean, as long as nothing's broken, it is what it is. How do you describe it? It is what it is, right? Can you say it's mint? What if it's a relic guitar that's never been played? Is that a mint condition relic guitar? I don't know. Now, Clay has played guitar for a lot of years, and I'm sure if he got that guitar when he was a young guy, he would have worn the paint right off it. But no, that guitar is a relic guitar. Oh, I got some good feedback from you guys about how to make the live stream look better, including making it look like we're not both lefties. So I appreciate the feedback from you guys. Thank you. That was my first time doing that, and I look forward to doing many more with everything better. You know, Nash guitars. Yeah. Randy's asking a good question. Any tips on how to get better at singing and playing at the same time? That is maybe the number 2 and number 3 most commonly asked question. Tips include, I have a bunch of them. Number 1, write your own song so that you can decide how sophisticated or unsophisticated, uncomplicated the singing and the guitar playing can be. If it's your song, you could make it simple and make it easier. Essentially, you're only going to do what you're capable of. So that's one strategy. Instead of trying to sing someone else's song and play their guitar part, just do your own song. That's one good strategy. Second thing, keep the guitar playing as simple as possible. No matter what the band is doing, you know, twist and shout. Shake it up, baby. Shake it up, baby. Right? I know how boring that sounds. I know. But if your goal is to sync your voice with the guitar, something has to give, right? Unless it's going great, but if it's not going great, something has to give. Simplify the guitar part as much as humanly possible, and then sing on top of that. So just then I was doing 2 Ds, D like Delta, 2 Gs like Golf, and 4 As like Alpha. Shake it up, baby, right? You can always get fancier later, but that's one tip. Another thing is, this is more general. You have to be very confident with either the singing or the guitar playing, because your brain is going to have to focus a lot on one or the other, right? It's if you're super confident with the guitar playing, maybe because you've simplified it, then you give more of your attention to the singing. One of the problems that is an extremely common problem, because we're all human, your strumming wants to follow the rhythm of the song. Shake it up, baby, now shake it up, baby. Twist and shout, twist and shout. Shake it up, baby, shake it. And it sounds terrible, right? Because that's not how the song goes. Your strumming, ideally, is steady and repetitive. No matter how simple or fancy it is, it's steady and repetitive. The listener can count on that. And separately, there's some person singing, except you are also that person, right? So that's the number 1 mistake that I observe. When a student says like, oh, I'm working on singing and playing at the same time, they can't separate those 2 things. Totally 100% understandable. But just so you know, that's what you want to watch out for. If you're not sure if you're doing what I just said, record yourself. But if you're not sure, then you probably are doing it wrong. I hate to say that, but you probably are not keeping them separate. Keeping them separate, again, using twist and shout. Shake it up, baby. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout. Twist and shout. Notice when I said twist and, my strumming didn't go da-da, right? Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout. Come on, come on, come on, baby. Come on, baby. Yeah. So it's not easy. It's not easy until it is. And then all of a sudden, yeah, you can do it. You got to be super confident, though, about one or the other. And I say that as if there's such a thing like being confident about the singing. But I think there is. I think especially someone, maybe one of you, we got a lot of people watching right now. you are a singer. You studied it. You are extremely comfortable. That's your thing. And the guitar is now an addition to your musical skills, right? You're adding on that as a skill. I have to believe that someone with a ton of singing experience, it's not just that you have the lyrics memorized, although that's good. It's that you've sung so much, you can only use a little tiny bit of bandwidth for that and give the rest to whatever is going on with your two hands. It has to help, you know. So I hope that is helpful. Hey, John Cavallo. John, are you still in Sweden? Are you back stateside? Did you come back just in time for a snowstorm to come through the East Coast? Beginner Guitar Lessons is joining us as a moderator. Beginner Guitar Lessons, thank you for being here. Beginner Guitar Lessons adds, I can usually find something in a song I can practice, a riff or lick that may have some new techniques. Yeah, getting back to our poll question. Yeah, you know, really, most songs, if you choose to dig deep enough, there's something in the guitar part somewhere that's like a little new twist, a little thing you might not have done before. If there's not, there's not, you know. But, you know, if you keep your eyes open, there just might be something in the song, even if you don't like the song. I'll give you an example. Oh man, I hope I don't ruffle any feathers. Man, I've never really liked Mississippi Queen. I don't care for that song. The lead guitar intro for Mississippi Queen, what a great intro. Oh man, as a teacher, player, man, that's a great, I really like that, you know, the intro to Mississippi Queen, you know. And structurally, in a weird, okay, tell me if this sounds weird. I respect the guitar part and the thought that went into it way more than I like the tune. I could never hear the song again for the rest of my life. I'll be okay. But the guitar part, ooh, I really, really like the guitar part. So I don't know. That's an example in my own personal life. Mississippi Queen. There you go. John is back home, and John, it's snowing. Yeah. We'll see what this weekend turns out to. Poopa John says, if you write your own songs, nobody knows if you made a mistake. Yeah. Okay. Hey, I mentioned this a moment ago. Let's get right down to it. In case you're curious, who got a bunch of Grammys this year? Let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay. So a few weeks ago, some very, very talented people won Grammy Awards, and a lot more were nominated, frankly. Right? A lot of talented people. But then, I'm just making this easy for you guys to read. Okay. The people who won, man, were there some talented people who won Grammys. Who might those people be? I will tell you. Okay, I want to make this so you can see this nice and clear. I think that looks good. Okay, now I will post this list in the description of this video. Okay, see that list right there? Oh man, and that link, which I will also put in the description of this video, that link will take you to the complete list. Now, why am I so into the Grammy Awards? It's a very quick way to discover a bunch of amazing music. The ones that I'm singling out here, I have to admit, they reflect my own biases and the kind of things that I'm curious about. And there's a few that I didn't put on this list, like spoken word poetry Grammy, that actually I'm interested in too. But I figured let's start with these. Look at all those people, man. Now, some of those I called your attention to back in November, December, January. So just in case some of you are listening and not watching, Caroline Shaw and So Percussion won a Grammy for both chamber music, or no, the award is called Chamber Music and Small Ensemble Performance. A historical album, best historical album, and a second Grammy for album notes, Centennial, featuring the music of King Oliver's Creole Jazz Band and others. For best roots gospel album, Corey Henry. Best regional roots music album, Kalani Peya. Best folk album, Gillian Welch and David Rawlings. Best contemporary blues album, Ruthie Foster for Mileage. Yay! I love that song, Mileage. And I'm sure the rest of the album is great. And Ruthie Foster was nominated, has been nominated, and many times previously. So it's very cool that she got it. For best traditional blues album, Taj Mahal Sextet. Sierra Farrell did okay, right? Sierra Farrell. Best Americana album, Best American Roots song, and Best American Roots performance. All right, now she's doing okay. Best Contemporary Instrumental Album. Oh, I like this one a lot. Taylor Egsty, probably not how you pronounce his name. I'm sorry, Taylor. Best Contemporary Instrumental Album for something called Plot Armor. Norah Jones. Who doesn't like Norah Jones? Visions. Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album. Michelle Indigiocello. No More Water. Some of you first heard about Michelle the same way I did, playing bass with John Cougar Mellencamp on that song called Wild Night. He covered that Van Morrison song, and there was Michelle playing great bass on that tune. And for a lot of us, that's the first we had heard of her. Well, there she is with a Grammy for Best Alternative Jazz Album from the state of Connecticut. Yeah, man. The Dan Pugach Big Band. Dan, I'm so sorry if that's not how you pronounce your name. But man, Dan from Connecticut scored a Grammy for Best Large Jazz Ensemble Album for an album called Bianca Reimagined. Chick Corea Bellafleck, Best Jazz Instrumental Album. Samara Joy got one for Best Jazz Vocal Album and Best Jazz Performance, and for Best Latin Jazz Album, an album called Cubop Lives. Sakai and Luke and Willie and Camilo and Ronaldo, Best Jazz Album for an album called Cubop Lives. Look at all those people. Holy moly. So I will post those names in the description. And that link you see in blue, that's a link where you guys can see those names and many more. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. But man, some of those people I learned about as I was sharing them with you, and a few of them I don't know about. But man, lots of, I don't know, so much talent is out there. And it's a fun way to like instantly learn about a bunch of good stuff. Puba John, I see your question. I'm going to get to that in 1 second. Puba John says, how do you match your voice to the chords? What comes first? Puba John, are you talking about like getting back to like singing and playing at the same time? Or are you talking about sort of songwriting? In terms of songwriting, I think I would say it kind of happens at the same time. You might be strumming a chord and maybe a certain line pops in your head, a certain melody pops in your head, and then you're off and running. But if you're talking about that thing we're talking about with playing and singing at the same time, you know what you could do? You could be extremely specific about certain words that land right on certain chords. Twist and shout, twist and shout. Come on, come on, come on, baby. But you'd have to be really specific, and that can get a little, it's a great idea on paper. It can get a little dicey because you have to be 100% accurate, Shake it up, baby. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout. Okay, so if I said shout, lands right on the D chord. Shout, twist comes on the G chord. Twist and shout. Come on, come on, come on, come on, baby. Baby's right on the D. Baby, come on, baby. Work it on out. So out is right on the D chord. Now I'm going by memory. But to my memory, those are words that line up exactly with that chord. That can be huge. I've seen people where that makes all the difference in the world. If they know what the mouth should say when on a certain chord, that's a game changer, Okay. Chaz, I'm looking at your comment, Chaz. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Chaz is reminding me that guitar camps exist. And there's a lot of them around the country, hopefully around the world, right? Hopefully in New Zealand, for example. Chaz says, you mentioned guitar camps a few weeks back. I looked into them. Since I've never played with anyone, have no one to play with, do you recommend these types of camps? Sure, I do. My prediction is that you won't be the only person at that camp who's never done that before, so yeah, 100%. If you decide to take the plunge and spend a week at a guitar camp somewhere, around the country, that could be, you might want to play with someone ahead of time just to get your feet wet, but yeah, I've only done one. I wasn't even a guitar. I mean, I didn't do it as a guitar player. I was really into fiddle music, so I did it as a not very good bluegrass fiddle player, and it was a ball, man. Just to look around, there's dozens of crazy people just like you who this is their idea of vacation, to go to a music camp for a week in the middle of nowhere. That felt pretty good. And my particular week at the particular camp I went to, there are some celebrities, you could say. I mean, some really famous musicians who were the instructors that week. Kind of like musicians. For example, Mr. Dobro himself, who's the big shot. I'm blanking out his name. I can picture him. The big shot dobro player who was like the king of Nashville, and now I'm sure he's graduated beyond Nashville. Who's the number one dobro player? Someone plays on everybody's records. It'll pop into my head when I stop trying to think about it. Anyways, he was there. Good old what's his name? Good old what's his name was there. William, thank you for your super chat, William. I appreciate that. When you guys make a donation to support the cause, you are indeed helping buy more Sharpies, the Sharpie Fund, and paper. When you donate to the SongBike Livestream, you are contributing song bucks. I love that. Rock Lobster, Jerry Douglas. Okay, I'm throwing out names. Val, Jerry Douglas is indeed the person whose name I was trying to think of. Jerry Douglas, king of the dobro. He was one of the instructors at my camp. I didn't hang out with him. I had lunch with him, but I was like 3 tables away. Anyways, yeah, I recommend those camps. Why not, man? Why not? John, you're talking about, John Cavallo is asking about doing down-up strums on the A chord. Are we talking about twist and shout still? What I'm doing now is, I would call this the campfire version of twist and shout. This sounds great. You can play it along with the Beatles. This is not necessarily exactly what John and George are strumming during twist and shout, but I'm going down twice on the D chord. On the G, I'm doing a down up. On the A, I'm doing an upstroke. And then up, down. Slow motion, D. Down, G. Down, up, A. Up, down, down. Down, up, down. The ups and downs do matter. They do matter. And here's why they matter. A little bit because of the sound, a little bit. But your elbow gets into this nice groove. Because it's all these downs and ups. It's a little bit from your elbow, right? And it's a little bit from your wrist, everything, right? When I do those down ups the way I just described them, my elbow feels so natural. If you would be so kind as to simply watch my elbow here. Don't worry about anything else, just my elbow. It just looks like that, right? Sometimes I'm strumming the string, sometimes I'm not. But my elbow feels it's doing what it was made to do, and that's why it sounds smooth. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that what I just illustrated is why the best musicians make everything look easy. they've made a variety of decisions to sort of make sure their body is doing essentially what is the most efficient thing the body can do. And it looks easy because it kind of is easy if you do it right. And I realize there's an argument to be made like, hey, all this stuff is hard. I get it. But what I just illustrated there for twist and shout, that's why the downs and ups are important. If the elbow is doing this, it's very happy, it's relaxed, and the music is going to sound smooth. If you played twist and shout with any other combination of downs and ups, the way I just did it, you could get away with it. It's never going to feel as natural ever as the way I just did it. Hey, look at these super chats. Oh my gosh, you guys are so kind. Chaz and Rock Lobster and Randy, I appreciate it. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Hey, don't forget, as much as I appreciate your donations, and I do, you can always get yourself something. For example, head over to Sweetwater, use the Sweetwater affiliate link, and Sweetwater is nice enough to send a little something our way to support the live stream. And that's a way you can totally support what we're doing right here and get something for yourself at the same time. And I try to have that link handy. There we go. So I appreciate you guys. Okay. Hey, another couple minutes and then we will do this week's play along song of the week. I think you'll get a kick out of it. That's what I'm looking for right there. Why is that so hard? Man. Okay. The Sweetwater affiliate link that I'm about to put in the chat is in the description of this video already. And it's easy to find in every in the description of every live stream. Okay, there we go. Mr. Collier, I see your question. Okay, Bill says, for a strict amateur who owns both an acoustic and an electric guitar, is there any reason at all to own an acoustic electric? Well, not immediately, no. One of the reasons to own an acoustic electric as opposed to just a regular acoustic is if you're going to be playing in public and you want to make sure it's loud enough for people to hear. So maybe all you own is an acoustic guitar, but you know you're going to be playing in church, in some large setting. It's pretty handy to be able to plug in your acoustic guitar so everybody can hear you and you can hear yourself. Could you do that with a regular electric guitar? Totally. But if your heart is into acoustic guitar, and that's really, you own a whole bunch of guitars, but in your heart of hearts, you find yourself gravitating to an acoustic guitar. And simultaneously, you can foresee yourself playing in public at some point, then maybe, get an acoustic electric or any acoustic guitar can be modified with a pickup so that you can plug it in. And that's a pretty routine thing. So if you had an acoustic guitar that you loved and you knew you're going to be doing quite a bit of performing with it out there in the real world, you just have a pickup built into the guitar, or there's always the possibility of just investing in a really good quality microphone and a stand and a cable, and then you're ready to play with a like old school. Just put the microphone right by the acoustic guitar and you're all set. And for the amount of money that you would spend to have the pickup installed, parts and labor and all that kind of stuff, for the same amount of money, you could get a pretty sweet setup of a microphone that's especially for acoustic guitar, as well as the stand and the cable. Something to think about. Nobody does that. I bet none of you are going to rush to do that. I get that. I didn't when it came my time to make that decision. I had a pickup installed, just like everyone does. If you don't already have a pickup installed, but there's a lot of beautiful microphones out there, and it's another option. If some of you foresee yourself doing a lot of home recording, man, that makes a good quality microphone a really, really good choice. If you want to preserve the beautiful sound of your beautiful acoustic guitar, I would bet you that for dollar, you're going to like the recorded sound of an external microphone better than you would like the sound of the acoustic electric plugged into your interface, into your computer, however you do home recording. My opinion. Sam is saying the Boss Katana has an acoustic guitar setting. Sam, is that so like even if you're playing electric, you can essentially adjust your Boss Katana amplifier and it sounds really close to an acoustic guitar, a lot more acoustic. That's I bet that's what you're saying. I'm reading your comments here. Yep. Yeah, and once you have an acoustic electric, however you're doing it, but especially with a built-in pickup, then you can start adding effects to it, whether you want crazy effects or just a little of that nice echoey reverb sound. A lot of possibilities. Rick, I'm reading your comment. Rick says he had a pickup put into his Taylor guitar, and it sounds nice. And you can use a looper pedal. So, Rick, I take it the Taylor did not have a pickup, and you had one installed. Yeah. I'm guessing that the vast majority of acoustic guitars out there for sale, not 100%, but over 50%, have the pickups built in because it's so desirable, especially in realistic price points for most of us. Sure, as you get into the multi-$1,000 guitars, with incredibly, expensive woods and a lot of attention to detail, then it would be, I would guess, much less likely to automatically come with a pickup. But in relatively accessible, affordable price ranges, it's such a popular option, that it could almost be hard to find a guitar that doesn't have a pickup built in. Not hard, but just you walk into a typical guitar store, you're going to find quite a few with a pickup already there. Sam, I'm reading your comment here. Oh, I see, Sam. So you're talking about plugging an acoustic guitar into the Boss Katana. I gotcha. So that it's like a whole specific thing. And I bet Boss designed it to hopefully retain as much of that warm acoustic sound as possible. Yeah, the Boss Katana. What a popular piece of equipment that is. I don't own myself, but I'm very aware of how popular that is as a guitar amplifier. So I'm not surprised that it's showing up here in our chat. Willie says the problem with an external mic is it will pick up the other instruments. Maybe, but maybe not. You'd have to shop wisely for a mic that is very unidirectional, right? And it's just it's right there, and then you can that would ideally reject other sounds. But you're right, though, it's always a possibility. So you'd have to weigh that against other options. If you were the only performer on stage, then there you go, you're all set. Acoustic performers did this for years and years and years, just you and your acoustic guitar, until the acoustic electric became an option. Poopa John says, do you hit open strings between chords? Definitely. If I understand your point, my right hand continues strumming, even if my left hand is in motion between chords. Yeah, 100%. Just then on Twist and Shout, I wasn't doing that. But in general, not only do I do it, I recommend it, and I can give you I shouldn't say that. I'm aware of lots of examples of professional, real guitar players continuing to strum while their fretting hand is in motion, so that if you could slow down the song, incredibly slowly, there would be moments when you'd hear them strumming on open strings, not because it sounds so good, but because they don't want to interrupt the flow of the music. And yet they're only human. They need a millisecond, just like we all do, to get to the next chord. It's extremely, extremely common. And I would go as far as to say, You can't be an effective rhythm guitar player without those moments sometimes where you keep the rhythm going, even if your left hand is in motion, you know? So yeah, hitting open strings. Hey, you guys, let's get to our play along song of the week. I'm going to wet my whistle. Lyman Orchards, apple cider. Lyman Orchards from Middlefield, Connecticut, but the apples, you know where they're from. Leominster, Massachusetts. I guess they put some apples away, and now so they can keep pressing them into cider. All right. Here's an example of a PDF that is already uploaded to my website. Our play along song of the week. There we go. Wagon wheel. And let me see how this looks from your point of view. Oh, look at that. Old Crow Medicine Show. A lot to talk about in this song. Considering it's such an easy song, there's a lot to talk about. Okay. Capo at the second fret. I'm grabbing mine. Mine's around here somewhere. Capo at the second fret. G, D, E minor, and C. Love it. Anybody out there not know this song? I bet there's a few of you. This song has taken on a life of its own. It's been described as the new Freebird. Super popular. Okay, wagon wheel. So, capo at the second fret. I highly recommend doing G with your middle ring and pinky. I can't jump through the internet and make you guys do it, but I'm telling you, all the times in this song where you're on a C chord and you've got to hustle to get to the G chord, you're going to be very glad that you're doing G with your middle ring and pinky. Okay. So in terms of left-hand chords, that's about my only piece of advice for your fretting hand. I highly encourage you to do G without the index, but with middle and ring on the bass strings and pinky on the skinny first string. G, D, E minor, C, and then G, D, C, C. Notice the first line and the second line are almost identical. This is how I begin to memorize tunes. I look for patterns, right? G, D, E minor, C, G, D, C, C, you know? I realize, okay, all I really have to remember is that when that E minor comes in, you know, that's one way to put it. Or just remember, oh, the second line doesn't have the E minor, whatever works for you. But this is a pretty easy song to memorize. You're going to ask me about the strum pattern, right? The boom chick pattern works really well for this song. Trying to get my right hand in the shot. So every one of those alphabet letters at the top of the page stands for one boom chick. So see how there's two G's? So those two G's represent boom chick, boom chick. The two D's, two E minors, boom chick, and two C's, boom chick, boom chick. Okay, so that's one way to match up the boom chick rhythm with the top of the page. I'm gonna do that pattern basically, but I'm sure, you know, as the song continues, I'm going to do something beyond that pattern. But of course, it's my obligation to steer you guys in the right direction in terms of a good starting point for a strum pattern for this song. So boom chick. Just in case you're not familiar with this rhythm, the principle here is you hit the root note of the chord. In the case of G, it's the fat string third fret. Nice solid downstroke. And then you strum 3, maybe 4 treble strings with a slightly lighter downstroke. And that's it. Boom, chick. Boom, chick. Okay? On D, it's the open D string. On E, you're back to the 6th string. Get the idea here. With a capo at the 2nd fret, the song is actually sounds. It sounds like it's in the key of A major. For those of you who just want to play some, do some soloing along with us, it's an A major pentatonic. That means one option would be no capo whatsoever. What I call the headquarters pattern based at 2, 2, 5. By the way, 5 on the 6th string, that's the note A. 2, 5, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 5. An A major pentatonic scale. Those of you who want to strum along, everything you need is on the page. If you want to play some lead guitar while your capo is on the 2nd fret, it's a very nice, I'm going to call it a G major pentatonic. I'm kind of acting like the capo is the end of the guitar. The G major pentatonic with the capo on, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 3, right? It's the headquarters pattern at 0, because I'm calling the capo 0. The listener, by the way, is hearing the world of A. The listener thinks this song is in the key of A. By the way, Old Crow Medicine Show and Darius Rucker, those are the two big popular versions of this song, both in the same key, which would be known as concert A. If you're at a concert hearing them, you'd hear it in the key of A. Thanks to the capo, we're playing chords in the key of G, which are nice. It doesn't get much easier than G, D, E minor, and C. Okay, I think I've said everything I want to say. What else? Are we ready to go? Any questions, comments? If you don't know this song, you will now. Feel free to harmonize. Rock Me Mama like a wagon wheel. Stick around. We're going to talk about Bob Dylan's connection with this song. And I have a link to share with you regarding that. I'm going to vamp. I'm just going to start right on the G chord. Okay? Pick G chord. We're going to hit the 6th string and we'll be up and running. All right. I'll see you on the other side. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Heading down south to the land of the pine, thumbing my way into North Carolina, staring up the road, praying to God to see headlights. Made it down the coast, 17 hours, picking me a bouquet of dogwood flowers. Hoping for Raleigh, I could see my baby tonight. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, and away you feel. Hey, hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Running from the cold up in New England, I was born to be a fiddler in an old-time string. Baby plays a guitar, I pick a banjo now. Oh, North Country winter getting me down. I lost money playing poker, so I had to leave town. I ain't turning back to living that old life no more. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, and away you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Walking to the south out of Roanoke, caught a truck around to Philly, had a nice long tow. Heading west for the Cumberland Gap, the Johnson City, Tennessee. Gotta get a move on before the sun. I hear my baby call my name, she's the only one. If I die in Raleigh, at least I will die free. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind and the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. All right, how'd you do? Pretty straightforward, right? Okay, so some of you totally know that song, and you might even know some of the history behind it. For those of you who don't know, people like me were freaked out when we heard that song. We thought, wait a minute, it's a Bob Dylan song. But it's not a Bob Dylan song, but what's going on? Well, check this out. I'm going to put a link in the description, in the chat here. Anybody know what I'm about to say? Anybody know a little history behind Bob Dylan's connection with this? There we go. I'll put this YouTube link in the I'll put the link in the description of this video as well. Sam says, too busy playing the chat. Yeah, there you go. Excellent. Excellent. I do notice it cracks me up, you guys, how the chat goes totally quiet and stays quiet for a little while we do that. And it's awesome. In my mind, you guys are still rocking out to that tune. I hope. So the reason why some of us Bob Dylan fans were freaked out when we heard Wagon Wheel, yeah, Poopa John, well, Bob Dylan kind of wrote it. He kind of did. You guys know Knock on Heaven's Door. Knock on Heaven's Door was written as part of a soundtrack to a cowboy movie called Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. And if you hear not just the soundtrack, but the bootleg tracks that didn't make it onto the soundtrack, you hear Bob Dylan essentially going, rock me mama, and he's singing the rock me mama part, the wagon wheel part. And that's all it is. It's about a minute long. I put a link in the chat just now. It sounds great. And it's extremely catchy, but it never turns into a song, you know? So fast forward, I don't know how many years, and I hear this wagon wheel tune with this guy talking about traveling in Carolina and all this stuff. But then he gets to the chorus, and like, well, that's a Bob Dylan song. Very, very interesting. Yeah, Willie says, the cool part is that people around the world are playing along. I know, right? It blows my little mind. Blows my mind. So the guy took that scrap from a Bob Dylan bootleg from the Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid soundtrack sessions and made it the chorus and then wrote a song around it. And this is as a lot of you know, it's a really, really popular song. So if you go on Wikipedia, you can read about some of the behind the scenes stuff. When Bob Dylan was contacted and said, hey man, you know, your song was used. One of Bob Dylan's comments was that, well, he didn't write it either, that he got it and he named some like older blues / country sources where he picked the whole rock me like a wagon wheel. He picked that up from them. So he said, like, technically he didn't write it either. It goes way back, you know. All right, we're back. We're back. So where was I? Did I lose anybody right there? Where was I? So when you see it credited, it is credited to the folks in Old Crow Medicine Show, whoever wrote it as part of that group, and / Bob Dylan. But it's just interesting to hear Bob Dylan's reaction, which is like, he didn't really write it either. He picked up from somewhere. Kind of cool. So that's what's going on. And you guys are welcome to, I don't know if I have that link. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll put the Wikipedia link when I do the time stamping. I'll put the Wikipedia link to Wagon Wheel in the description of this video. Okay. Wagon. There we go. All right. So thank you for hearing my hearing that little background bit. Hey, have you voted? Did you vote? I hope you voted. Did you vote for where are we here? In our poll question of the night. It's not too late. I see we got dozens of people still watching. The poll question of the night. Do you ever play songs, practice songs that you don't like? Way in the lead is the answer sometimes. Sometimes you play songs you don't like because you might learn something. 61%. 29% say never. 8% say, yeah, you would do it. Sometimes you do it for a friend or for a good cause, right? And 2% say other, other. Interesting. So at the moment, the sometimes answer, sometimes I might learn something, that is way ahead. That's way ahead. And hey, you never know. Things can change, but things do have a way of staying. Sam, I'm looking at your comment. Okay, Sam, gotcha. All right. So, what else? Oh, we have some good stuff to get to. Don't go anywhere. Should I sell out? Oh man, this is a tough one. Should I sell out? You guys know I get a kick out of this. I get a lot of kind of spam emails asking if I would sell stuff to you. And I'm telling you, this one was kind of tricky. And there we go. Okay, let's see. I'm going to share the screen with you. This one company reached out to me recently, this past week, a few days ago, and they wanted me to sell you, how did they describe it? Foam mattresses and high density pillows. That's okay. That's not what got my attention. You know what got my attention? This one. And I'm, never say never. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay, here it comes. Who is reaching out to me to sell stuff to you? Toblerone candy. Hello, valued partner. I'm reaching out to you on behalf of a company with a passion for sweets. We would love to feature a concise promotional segment in an early portion of one of your videos. Oh, we believe that our exceptional chocolate paired with your creative vision can delight your viewers. Let's explore the specifics. All right, so at the moment, that is the absolute most tempting offer I have received. A little segment we call Should I Sell Out? Now you know. Is it a real email or is it just some kind of scam? I don't know. But now you know what it's like being me. Toblerone. All right, very interesting. Hey, Sam is saying that Wagon Wheel, a nice version, a great version, was also done by Rhonda Vincent, featuring Alison Krauss and Zach Arnold. I bet that does sound great. Yeah, anything Alison Krauss is involved with is going to be awesome. Sam says he just had some Toblerone last night. Well, I don't know. See, you don't need me to sell. Who knew that Toblerone would even need any advertising whatsoever? Did you hear that the cocoa production is in trouble? Chocolate's going to, continue to get more and more expensive. So enjoy every bite. There's some environmental reasons behind that. Okay. Other things that you might want to stay tuned for. Don't go anywhere. How about the student quote of the week? One of my students was learning a new skill, a new thing I just showed him, and he did it once, twice, 3 times. He's, kind of getting it. I said, okay, you think you got it? You're ready to go? He said, yeah, I just got to get it upstairs. I like that, right? Like, he's got to get it up here, right? So like memorized, comfortable, and then you could do it 1,000 times. So that's the student quote of the week. Just have to get it upstairs. Yeah. Yep. I can understand that. I have a dumb question, my own dumb question of the week. My dumb question, I ask it so you don't have to. My own dumb question of the week. Can you get worse at the guitar? Some of you are saying, yes, you can. No, but hear me out. can you get worse at the guitar? It's a dumb question. You can't get worse. You can't, what are you gonna do? Lose a finger? You can't get worse at the guitar. It's a dumb question. But can you get worse? You can not make progress the way you want to make progress. That's for sure, right? You think you're going to practice something for 4 days and be significantly better. Sometimes it doesn't directly, you don't feel 4 days better at it. I get that. You can put something down for a week or two and come back and feel pretty rusty. Is that getting worse? I prefer to think of that as just something that reflects you haven't looked at it for a while, but you can get right back to your previous level with just a little bit of practice. But can you get worse at the guitar? That's a dumb question. My honest opinion is no, you can't get worse. Even though you might have a little voice in your head occasionally saying, oh man, I'm getting worse at the guitar. No, you're not getting worse. It could be that you are doing something you haven't done for a while. It could be that you are doing something that's just super hard, and what little progress you're making is so little that you might actually think I'm getting worse at the guitar. That's the dumb question of the week. But the answer is no, you can't get worse. Who's in town this week? A little segment I call Who's in Town? Who's in town this week? We got tributes, no lack of tributes. We got a tribute band doing Marvin Gaye music, a tribute band doing Tom Petty music, and a tribute band doing 80s rock. But in between all the tribute bands, there's a band from Scotland, a trio from Scotland. They sold out. And let me tell you, if you sold out a little theater in New England in February, if people are coming out to see you to the extent you sell out, you got to be really good. And it's probably not your first time through town. You probably came through town, maybe didn't sell out, but everyone told their friends. The band I'm talking about from Scotland, Talisk, T-A-L-I-S-K, Talisk. The concert on February 19th, 4 days from now, is sold out. I'm sorry, but keep an eye open for them when they come through your town, Talisk. I'm going to put their name and a link to one of their YouTube videos in the description of this live stream. Who else is coming through town? Well, February 23rd, limited ticket availability. And I'm sure he seems like he tours a lot, so I'm sure he's going to be coming through your neck of the woods. Tommy Castro and the Painkillers. What a great name, the Painkillers. Tommy Castro and the Painkillers playing great blues. They are coming through my neck of the woods. And I put a link to one of their videos in the description of this live stream. So when we wrap up, we'll go for another 40 minutes or so. When we wrap up, I put in a whole bunch of links to things I talked about. I do that right away. And then typically tomorrow morning, I will fill in some of the other information and timestamp everything. You guys know this, right? So when you come back to watch this, you can jump right to a certain thing you want to go to. For instance, like the play along. Maybe you want to play along again, or those of you who are watching this after the fact. Hello. Hope the future is good. I hope you know that you can take advantage of all this time stamping, right? You know that, right? You can jump ahead to different things. You can look in the description of the video and see where different things are. If you want to find out what the song of the week is, right away, just go to the description and look for the song of the week. And then you can, for example, you can jump ahead to stuff. Okay. Hey, I still haven't got around to watching the second half of the Netflix documentary on Norman's rare guitars. Anybody out there watch the whole thing or watch any of it? Let us know in the chat. I enjoyed the first half. I just haven't made the effort to watch the second half. I intend to. Norman's Rare Guitars, famous store out there in California, and a very cool Netflix documentary. And if you watch it, it's on my list of things to do. I'm just curious if you guys liked it. Interesting. He's got a lot of stories to tell about a lot of famous guitar players and I guess it's more about the players that come through. There's not as much of a focus on specific guitars. It's more about the people involved. John is asking about where those folks are playing. There's a little theater right across the street from me in the town of Old Saybrook, Connecticut. There is no New Saybrook or just Saybrook, Old Saybrook, Connecticut. There's a theater named after Katherine Hepburn, famous actress, because she had a family summer house here in Connecticut, where she spent a lot of time, I think, as a kid. And then it's where she retired to. And so she's like the most famous person connected with this little town. So my music shop is on Main Street, and on the other side of Main Street is the Katherine Hepburn Cultural Center, which is a nice theater that seats about 250 people. Really nice little theater. And I recommend it to anybody who's driving on I-95 and you want to see a concert as you drive up and down 95. Exit 67 is the one that's the closest to the Katherine Hepburn Cultural Center. And a lot of great music, talented people, a lot of tribute bands, because you know what? That puts the butts in the seats. Tom Petty tribute band, Marvin Gaye, 80s rock. I see that there's an Everly Brothers tribute band coming later in the month. That pays the bills. But, you know, there's that band from Scotland selling the place out. So that, I'm sure that pays the bills as well. The Katherine Hepburn Cultural Center. And you talk to different people around town, and you can hear a variety of stories of people talk about bumping into Katherine Hepburn or observing Katherine. I think people were very, my understanding is that people were very, they let her do her thing. People didn't bug her, you know, as she went around town shopping and stuff. I like to think that she felt comfortable in this town and comfortable mingling with all of us. She had already passed away by the time I was here, but her house is still standing, I assume. I mean, every once in a while it goes up for sale. There's a rumor way back when that Taylor Swift was going to buy it, and she ended up buying a big place in Rhode Island. I'm sure all you Swifties know about where she lives in Rhode Island, but supposedly she really, I mean, I have people I know who work at a nice inn here in town, and they say, oh yeah, no, she stayed at the inn while she was checking out the house for sure. That's a fact. She just chose not to buy Katherine Hepburn's estate. There you go. That's my brush with both Katherine Hepburn and Taylor Swift, which is essentially no brush at all. Okay, other things that I want to share with you guys. Ready for the tough love segment? This is not going to be as harsh. I know I've been giving you guys some tough love recently. This is going to be a little easier to swallow. Tough love for the week. Here's my advice to you. You're playing too fast. Slow down. You got to slow down. Whatever you're trying to do, especially if it's not going well, just slow down. I have a fantasy about taking a magic marker and just writing SLOW right across my forehead. And then just during a lesson, I would just point to it, take a sip of coffee, just point to my forehead. That's it. It's a number one reason people either make mistakes or something's not working right. They're just going too fast. Slowing down cures a surprising number of issues. You guys got to go slower. You got to. You can either pay someone to tell you that, or you can do it yourself for free. Just remind yourself you got to do it slowly. I can't tell you how often when I finally get a student to slow something down, they play it perfectly, 100% perfectly, just because they slowed it down. Music to my ears. That's a segment I call Tough Love. Just slow down. You're going to do great. Just slow down. Okay. What else do I have to share with you? Here comes the bride. All right. Let's do a quick little ear training thing. Bum, bum, ba, bum. Here comes the bride. Where are we here? This is going to be fast. Okay, that's what we want. And this. Okay, see that right there? Sure you do. Here comes the bride. Why am I bringing up here comes the bride? Ear training. We're going to make your ear a little bit better, but we're also going to demystify maybe the guitar a little bit. Here comes the bride. Many of you, hopefully all of you, are aware of that famous song, right? Here comes the bride. That jump, here comes, is known as a fourth. The guitar strings are tuned in fourths. That means when you play any fat string, I'm going to choose the 6th string E, and you go to the very next neighboring skinnier string, in this case A, you have just played a fourth. Here comes the bride. Okay, the guitar is tuned in fourths. Why are they called fourths? See that top row? Does that look like an eye chart? Can you read the top row? Um, okay, so the top row there where it says E, F sharp, G sharp, A, that is an E major scale. The note A is the fourth note of an E major scale. So when you play the E string, open, and then jump to the A string, open, you have just jumped from the first note of an E major scale to the fourth note of an E major scale, and that's why that jump is nicknamed a fourth. That's all. And the guitar is tuned in fourths, meaning you can do the same thing starting on the A string, also known as the fifth string. Here comes the bride, jumping from A to D. That's a fourth. D to G, also a fourth. D, G, 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 because G is the fourth note of a D major scale. Remember, everything always comes back to major scales. You cannot avoid major scales. Every music theory discussion leads you back to major scales. So that's why I made those certain letters capital letters. Okay, somebody tell me, what's up with the G thing? Wait a minute. The G scale, big capital G, but then I made the B. What's up? Why didn't I make what's up? What's going on with that? It's the dang G-B relationship. What is up with the G-B relationship? It's the one moment where the strings are not a fourth apart. G to B is not Here Comes the Bride. G to C is Here Comes the Bride. I'm going to do the open G. C is the second string, first fret. Okay, but G to B is not Here Comes the Bride. So why not? Why did the guitar, why is it inconsistent? Why is there suddenly a third? G to B, that interval is known as a third. See why? Because B is the third note of a G major scale. See that big capital B, right? Whose idea was that? I don't know. Nobody knows. There's no Mr. Guitar. You can go back in a time machine and ask Mr. Guitar why the guitar is tuned that way. I've never heard any explanation that definitively explains why the guitar ended up with this conventional tuning. At the moment, let's put that aside, put a pin in that, and just know that G to B is not a third, and there's your proof. B is is not a fourth, because B is the third note of a G major scale. Well, okay, so when you jump from the open G string to the B, not Here Comes the Bride, not a fourth. But we return to form when we do the B string to the E string. We're back to that relationship of a fourth. It's one way to check to see if your guitar is in tune, at least in the ballpark, right? Say you don't have access to any tuner, right? As long as you can kind of confirm that it's pretty darn close to Here Comes the Bride just by ear, then you know you're in the ballpark, right? Sadly, you can't use it for G to B. Okay, but ear training. So ear training is a lifelong skill. Yes, there are 1 in 10,000, maybe even smaller odds than that. 1 in 10,000 people who have perfect pitch. They hear a sound and they know it's a C sharp, just like you might agree that my guitar is yellow, right? A lot of you, hopefully all of you, agree this guitar is yellow, right? Imagine being that way, but with notes. You just know it, right? You just know. You have perfect pitch. You just know something is a D, just the way you know this is yellow. In fact, you could even talk about the different shades of yellow. It could be a D, but a little bit out of tune. It could be canary yellow, some off-white yellow, some neon yellow, right? Most of us do not have. Well, raise your hand if you do have perfect pitch. Okay, anybody? But if you don't, like the rest of us, you can still train your ear to be better and better and better. You could have relative pitch. Relative pitch is knowing, for example, being able to sing the A note without playing the string. Here comes the bride. I know Here Comes the Bride, So I can sing the A note. Here comes the bride. And then I could play the A to comes the bride, confirm it, right? Hopefully I'm pretty much in tune. Ear training, right? So why am I sharing this with you at the moment? Number one, fourths. Here Comes the Bride is such a famous song, right? And the guitar is tuned in fourths. So why not take those two phenomena, the familiarity of the song and the fact that it directly relates to how we all tune our guitars. It's a why not? Why not use Here Comes the Bride? Oh, by the way, this is 100% how a music teacher taught me, began to teach me about intervals. He's like, well, if you can sing Here Comes the Bride, then you're singing a fourth. And now you know what a fourth is. Little bonus information. A fifth is the next line, all dressed in white. So, all dressed in white. So there's a fifth. What I just sang there was E to A, and then E to B. See how B, look at the scale at the top of the page. B is the fifth note of an E major scale. B is also the fifth string, second fret right there. So there's a fifth. So now you know, hopefully you can begin to train your ear to sing a fourth and a fifth. Here comes the bride, all dressed in white. Now I know I'm singing it really low. I'll do it with the D and the G. Here comes the bride, all dressed in white. I did the open D to the open G, and then the open D to the G string second fret. That's note A. There you go. Those are the first two intervals I ever learned, because a teacher said, "Hey, it's easy peasy," and I use that to this day. Right? If I Here Comes the Bride, just so you know, that's how most of us train our ears to sing, to produce, to recognize any intervals. Take a familiar song, the more familiar, the better, right? And just give a name to that interval. An octave. I'm grabbing a C chord. I'm going to sing the C, my ring fingers on, fifth string, third fret. And then the C, my index fingers on, second string, first fret. There's Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Somewhere. Not easy to sing an octave, right? Somewhere over the rainbow. Okay. So if you can recognize somewhere, if you can recognize it, maybe even sing it, then you know what an octave sounds like. So kind of cool. You match up famous songs that you know with different intervals, and that's a relatively easy way to train your ear to recognize this stuff, to produce it. Yeah, there you go. And go ahead and Google it sometime. Ear training intervals with famous songs. You could like do a Google search for something like that, famous song intervals or something like that, and you'll have a bunch of things pop up. And the key would be making sure you know the actual song, right? Okay, you got the idea. Okay, I'm jumping back in the chat here. Look what you guys are talking about. Yeah, Bruce. Bruce, hey, Bruce, by the way, welcome to the chat, Bruce. Bruce says, I use famous songs for intervals. Old Lang Syne is great for the fourth. Should old acquaint, should old. Yeah, I'm going to do A to D. Should old acquaintance. Yeah, should old. There's your fourth right there. Yeah, acquaintance be forgot. Happy birthday, Rick. You're talking about happy birthday. Sure, happy birthday. The first interval is a second. I'm going to use, let me see, I'm going to use the G major scale. See the G major scale right there? Not because I think I can sing that in that range necessarily, but because it's going to put me on the three treble strings. Happy birthday goes G, G, A, G. So happy birth. If you can memorize happy, there's your second. That would be called a second. Happy birthday. G, A, G. Now, by the way, my goal here is simply to introduce this idea. I do not expect anyone to, it's not about memorizing what the note G sounds like. That's not, it's more, once you know what the note G sounds like, can you then sing a fourth above that? And you can if you you find that G, it's a little bit high for me, and you think of Here Comes the Bride, right? Or find the G, happy birth. If my ear is good enough, I should be able to sing the A, the second note of happy birthday. Happy birth. That should be an A. And then I could play the A. There it is right there. You know? Sam is sharing some twists. Yeah, we're getting into we're doing a deep dive here. Sam says a perfect fourth interval is also an inverted perfect fifth. Yeah, I mean, if you go the other direction, yeah, now that's when it gets a little tricky. So, but yes, Sam, I know where you're coming from. Bruce says, does anyone have a good song opening for a major third interval? I'm sure there is one. And the quickest way, well, the quickest way is to ask someone. But if the guy you're asking doesn't know, then Google it. Famous song intro major third. You know. Joseph says a lot of people are teaching like a Rolling Stone. Will you be teaching in the future? In the future, I teach it to you right now. I'll teach you a lesson you never forget. Joseph, don't go anywhere. Like a Rolling Stone. I'm going to teach it to you. I could get up and get it. I'm just seeing if I already have it saved on my phone. How do I not have it saved on my phone already? Okay. I'm just putting off the inevitable, which is getting out of my chair. And I'm happy to get out of my chair, though I hate leaving you guys with nothing to look at. Nope. Okay. I guess I didn't. So yeah, so let's do like a Rolling Stone. This won't be a big sing-along, okay? This would, although, hey, never say never. But in terms of how to play it. Okay, one more thing. In terms of how to play it, let me just get you guys started. Okay, talk amongst yourselves. And I'll be right back like a Rolling Stone. Don't go away. Princess on the steeple, all you pretty people, thinking that you got it made. Changing all your precious gifts. Better take your diamond ring and pawn it, babe. Everybody see the Bob Dylan movie? Raise your hand if you didn't see the Bob Dylan movie, because I know a bunch of you did. Okay, I have here in my hands this one particular stack of music. This is the actual songs. I have another stack that's sort of like exercises and anything that's not an actual song. But this is the song pile. There we go, Joseph. You're talking to the right guy. We'll put that right there. Okay. And what I'm going to do, I bet I can do this in 60 seconds. If you need a bathroom break, you got 60 seconds. Someone set a timer. Let's put 60 seconds on the big board. And go. Okay. Like a Rolling Stone. All right. I'm going to title this. Here's what you need for Like a Rolling Stone. You don't need a capo for once, right? You do need a lot of C's and F's, man. Get ready for the C's and F's, however you choose to do your F chord. You need D minor, you need E minor. You need some G's. G's, I can't find my knees. There we go. Send. And now we wait. How we doing on the 60 seconds? Anybody? Anybody? Okay, now we refresh and we refresh. Nothing you can do but refresh. There we go. And now we download. This is happening, people. This is happening. Okay. And now, there we go. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so you can see it. Yeah, Bob Dylan is he having a resurgence? Is that what you'd say? Maybe. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Here comes the bride, like a rolling stone. Okay, how's that look, you guys? If your screen goes black for a moment, panic not. Panic not at all. All right. Lots of C's and F's in the beginning. This is not going to be an official play along, but I'll walk you through it. Although some of you are probably playing it right now. Like you got it. Hey, Bruce, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. I really do. You guys are in a generous mood, man. Thank you. That means a lot. See that little red M in the corner? Here's a little secret. I put a red M that stands for master copy. That means, Jonathan, don't give anybody this copy. Make copies of it, but don't give anyone this copy. It's my only copy. I'll put this for those of you who are members of my website. I'll upload this to the PDF section of the website. I'll do that when the live stream is done. Okay, so I'm just going to walk you through it. Hey, I put the D minor up top. See that D minor, that little chord diagram at the top? Why did I do that one? For some reason, man, D minor gets very little love. And of all the most common basic chords, D minor is the most likely to be unfamiliar to people. So that's why the D minor is up there. Okay, so we need C's. We need F, however you want to do an F chord. That's the intro. See those things that look like percentage signs? That means repeat the previous measure. The first measure is 2 C's and 2 F's, and so is the second measure, so is the third measure, so is the fourth measure, and then the words come in, the verse. Alphabetical. Here's a great way to memorize a song. Just tell yourself it's alphabetical. C to D minor, to E minor, to F, to G. That whole thing happens twice. See that little arrow with those 2 lines and 2 dots, that little arrow? The whole verse line happens twice, 2 times. Then comes the pre-chorus. You used to laugh about. It's the F's and the G's. You could say line 4 is reverse alphabetical. F to E minor, to D minor, C. Now you don't act so proud. Line 5, about having to be scrounging your last meal. How does it feel? Okay, so now we're at the chorus. The chorus, 2 C's, 2 F's, 4 G's. You may hear people describe Like a Rolling Stone as a 1-4-5. Well, it's not until you get to this part, because we're in the key of C, and C is nicknamed the 1 chord, F is nicknamed the 4 chord, and G is nicknamed the 5 chord. So that chorus line, C, F, G, happens 5 times. See that 5X in parentheses at the end of that chorus line? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Line 6 happens 5 times. To be without a home. And then the whole thing wraps up. The form of the tune wraps up with Like a Rolling Stone, F to G. And he stays on that G extra long before it goes back to the verse, right? Okay, you want to do this? Sure. I don't know why not. Let me close down some stuff. Close. Okay. And let me get a few words up here. Let's do this. Let's do a play along. Well, this is going to be a low key, a chill kind of play along. Okay. You guys ready? Nice and slowly. I hope this is a good challenge for at least a few of you. I know we got a few dozen people in the chat right now. It's a lot of chords with constant chord changing. So for a few of you, this is going to be a workout for your fretting hand. You know, keep your eyes on how long you spend on each chord. It could be only 2 strums and then it's already time for the next chord. Or potentially it could be as many as 8 strums. Those times where there's like a G with those 4 slash marks and then 4 more Gs with 4 more slash marks. Okay. Last thing before we start this, clearly my priority is on you guys playing the right chord at the right time. The actual strumming is not my priority right now. I would just as soon keep everyone doing, or keep anyone who's capable of it, just doing nice, steady downstrokes. Anyone who wants to do more than that, knock yourself out. But like 2 Cs and 2 Fs, I would much rather have people give a lot of attention to the chords and nailing the chord changes than any crazy strumming. Okay, so let's do it. Let's start off with those Cs and Fs. 2, 3, intro, C to F to C to F, C to F. One more time, C to F. Here comes the verse. Once upon a time, dressed so fine, through the bumps of dime, in your prime, G, didn't you? Repeat that verse. People call, say beware doll, you're bound to fall. You thought they were all just kidding you. Here comes the pre-chorus F right now. You used to laugh about everybody that was hanging out. Next line, F. Now you don't knock so loud. Now you don't seem so proud. D minor, about having to be scrounging. Your next meal. How does it feel? How does it feel to be without a home? Like a complete unknown, like a rolling stone. You stay in that G a little bit extra, and then you go back to the verse. Okay? Hopefully, what I did just then, hopefully I talked the talk instead of just walking the walk. But there you go. As a teacher, I like how it gives you just a workout. I'm a little nervous. I've definitely have lots of students who are not super comfortable with F. So, you know, this song is merciless, right? You can't escape the F chord. But for students who are okay with F, this is just a good chord workout. Oh, in terms of singing and playing, because there's no tricky down up crazy strumming, no boom chick kind of stuff is necessary. Potentially this could be a good song to work on singing and playing at the same time, with one big problem. There's a ton of lyrics, you know, so it's not ideal. You know, when I talk about choosing songs to do for our play-alongs, I like famous songs, I like slow songs, and I like songs with a certain clarity, a certain simplicity. This song doesn't have that exact clarity or simplicity. So for that reason, I'm out. No, but I mean, it's pretty close. I mean, you just did it, right? You just did it. So it's, you know, it's I don't know. And maybe someday we will do it as an official guitar playing along. in my mind, you guys are now up and running on this tune. There's a lot of cool guitar playing in the song. Mike Bloomfield putting in some cool riffs. I mean, and hopefully someone has made an in-depth video getting into some real nitty-gritty. I see my role as getting people up and running, with the idea that you could play it around the campfire. You could play along with the original recording. You could get that satisfaction of saying, yeah, man, I could get on stage and bang out those chords. That's a great goal, you know? And then you can choose to do a deeper dive and either play note for note stuff from the song, or put in little riffs or little, you know, walk ups or walk downs or hammer-ons or things like that because you like it and you're good enough to do that. But you got to get up and running first. Randy says, that was awesome. Thank you, Randy. You are very welcome. So yeah, so I will add that to the PDF section of my website called www.song-bike.com, and $10 a month. And I'm going to make a point of putting more of what we do in that PDF section, because I know a bunch of you are members of the website. And for those of you who are not, it's just another way to support what we're doing. $10 a month. It's a pretty good deal. $10. There's a lot of stuff on that website. But I'm biased. I am biased. Okay, so you guys, we got just a couple minutes left. And I'm not done with you. Not done with you, but I'm getting close. But I want to show you one more lesson thing before we go. But I'm just bear with me. I'm just going to check my agenda, and I'm going to check the questions. Bruce says, Jonathan, do you prefer early folk Dylan or the electric stuff? Ooh, yes. Man, I go back and forth. As a younger guy, I really got into the folky stuff. The first handful of albums, I dug that so much. But my first Bob Dylan album was Knocked Out Loaded from the late 80s, which is a great album. I think it's fair to say it's underrated. It's not everyone's favorite Bob Dylan album. My favorite Bob Dylan album is always like Whatever He Just Did. That's my favorite album. I like all of it. I guess I tend to listen to the later stuff for sure. I tend to listen I don't listen to the 60s stuff, no, but I kind of do. I tend to listen to the electric stuff more than the acoustic stuff, if you were to divide up that way. The electric stuff, not the early. But it's partly because I've listened to so much of the early folk stuff. Yeah. Sam is pointing out an easy F for beginners. Well, Sam, I'm glad you think it's easy, because F is just tricky no matter what. But yeah, Sam, if you're contrasting what I call the 4-string F with the big bar chord F, yeah, I agree. I think the 4-string F is easier, but it's still that notion. I mean, this is what I do 6 days a week. I encourage, motivate, and advise people on how to play that 4-string 3-finger F chord. And it's not easy for everyone, but I agree that it's the easiest one. Yeah. Remember, those of you who are working on F, here's something for nothing. It's not just about taking your pointer finger and squeezing the 2 skinny strings. You got to roll that finger onto the side of the finger. Which side? The skin closest to your thumb. When you roll that finger over, you should feel your elbow the elbow that's attached to that hand coming in towards the guitar. It's going to help you roll that finger over. Okay, so you're squeezing with the side of the finger. It makes a big difference. And then, of course, you've still got to do that thing where your middle and ring arch over onto their strings. It's a game changer. Rolling that finger over onto its side is a game changer. And again, it's the side closest, the skin closest to your thumb, that side. The side, and when you do that, it both can bring your elbow in, or put the other way, if you bring your left elbow in, it helps that finger roll over. I've seen it work miracles, and people instantly can play the F perfectly. And I've also seen it help a bit. So those of you who are working, yeah, see, Kata says the bar F, the big bar chord version was easier. And yeah, so that's, and Matt, Okay, so Matt and Caddis say the big bar chord version is easier. Yeah, I've come across. I know I've come across people like you guys. I will say this: that when someone comes to me and we begin doing F, I show them the smaller 4-string version. We do not. I don't do the big bar chord version. I don't know. I just figure bar chords are a whole separate thing. Sam has not been to see A Complete Unknown. Okay, I have a question. Anybody, and I see we got 40 people watching right now. The numbers actually went up a minute ago. Did anybody really not like A Complete Unknown? And you can be honest, I mean, I don't mean you had little quibbles. I mean, you really didn't, you're sorry you saw it. You wanted your money back. It was a real bummer. If you feel that way, you're, I think, in the minority. And we're back. And we're back. You guys see that little glitch just then? We're back. We're back. You didn't miss anything. We're back. It's glitchy. You know what it is? It's the snow outside. I don't know. So myself and a lot of people I've talked to were pleasantly surprised. We liked the movie more than we thought we did. I was prepared to, like, I don't know. I liked it more than I thought I would. But did anybody see it and really, really turned off? I'm curious. I mean, I respect your opinion. It's just that it would seem to be you would be in the minority if you felt that way. Doesn't mean you're not right or anything, And Joseph, you're mentioning how you've seen people do like a Rolling Stone with, capoed up with other chords. Yeah, I don't doubt it. And if you've seen Bob Dylan play it with a capo, nothing would surprise me. I don't think he has any intention of doing it the same way twice. Nothing would surprise me. Okay, Val mentioned something. Val, you were surprised there was no mention of Ramblin' Jack Elliott in A Complete Unknown. I take your word for it. I can't recall. I'm sure you're right. I guess I'm surprised too, because they didn't even mention in passing. I know Johnny Cash and Pete Seeger and Woody Guthrie were sort of the whatever you want to call them, the elders, so to speak, who made appearances quite a bit in the movie. Surfer Norm says the finger roll on the F is still very important when you do the bar. Exactly, Surfer. Thank you for mentioning that. You still want to roll that finger over onto its edge when you do the big bar chord. Another tip I have is to overextend your index finger if you're playing a bar chord, meaning don't just go to the fat string, go way past the fat string so you can get that nice solid knuckle, involved in the whole shebang. So, okay, you guys, we're going to wrap up in a minute. But here's one last thing I want to show you. I'm going to close this down here. Okay. As promised, the song entitled Ashokan Farewell. Many of us know this as the song from the PBS Civil War series made by Ken Burns. This is my chord melody arrangement of the tune in the proper key, which is the key of D. It sounds, I'm just going to play a little tiny bit of it for you. It sounds like. Okay, does that kind of sound familiar, right? I love doing chord melody arrangements for guitar, and I always want to keep it in the key of the original song because, I like that challenge, right? I was not super satisfied with how this song came out in the key of D. It's okay. Why wasn't I satisfied? I'll tell you. There are so many times when there's only one harmony note available. Check this out. The very first line where there's a 4, see I'm pointing out right now, there's a 4 with a 0 under it. Not only is that a very small little harmony moment, but 0 and 4 together doesn't even sound that great out of context. But like on paper, that's the right thing to do at that moment. But yeah, so I thought, you know what? I'm going to let go of this obsession with doing it in the same key as the original. And I thought, okay, what if we did it in a different key? And let's try this. technically you could use a capo, right, and get you back into the right key. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, I know you guys have stuck around here, so I thought a little inside baseball here, you know. So here's the same song in the key of G. Ooh, look at all those stacks of numbers. 6-note chords, 5-note strums, 4-note strums. Admittedly, look on line 2. There's still those moments where you have a melody note in the, like in the middle of line 2, a melody note with only one harmony note underneath it. It's not my favorite, but there are fewer of those times, you know. If I play this correctly, it's going to sound the same, just in a different key. So for the fun of it, okay, here it comes to. Now playing, I know you couldn't see my hand too well. Playing it in this key does require us to jump up the fretboard. But it sounds so pretty, right? Okay, so now you know what goes through my little mind with these chord melody arrangements. Do you stay in the same key? Do you change the key, but capo it to, so just with a capo, you're back in the original key? Yeah, but this one, you'd have to put the capo up so high, and then your hand would end up so high. Ooh, tricky. What do you do? Tricky, tricky, tricky. Hey, just show people both of them. Kata says, do you know a nice finger picking arrangement of 500 miles? I'm going to share this with us someday. Tell you what, Cass, I'll put that on my list. 500. Caddis, what would you prefer? A repetitive finger picking pattern so you could sing along with it, right? Or a finger picking arrangement where you don't have to sing along with it because you can hear the melody coming out in the arrangement. Would be a little bit harder, but you know, then you have like an instrumental, really nice instrumental version. Which one of those do you kind of have in mind? Let us know in the chat. Beautiful, beautiful tune, 500 miles. Kata says, I don't sing. Then that answers my question. Yeah. So yeah, in fact, you guys know I did volume 1, and I'm definitely thinking about volume 2, Chord-Melody Songbook. So like Ashokan Farewell we just did, that's for sure going to be in volume 2. Whenever I get around to it, it'll be in volume 2. And I could totally see doing a chord melody version of 500 miles for volume 2 because it checks a lot of boxes. Famous, beautiful, slow. So what you're talking about is slightly different in that it's a finger picking version rather than like a strumming chord melody version, but so close in my mind. So yeah, Caddis, I'm going to put that on the list, and you know, no promises, but you know, hey, Winston from Wales. Winston says, just caught you to say good night. That's how I'll watch you back tomorrow. Good night from Winston from Wales. Winston, thank you for being here, and I hope you sleep well. Okay, you guys, I want to thank you for sticking around. Long night, but good night, right? Right. We did a lot of stuff. I think I checked off a bunch of things that I hope to get to. I think I checked off everything. 2 things. Buffalo Nichols. With a name like Buffalo Nichols, I had to check out who he was. Buffalo Nichols is a young guy playing some nice guitar, great singing voice. I just want to turn people on to some talented performers. So in the description of this video, I'm going to put a link to Buffalo Nichols. Why not? Someone new who's out there doing his thing. Buffalo Nichols. Okay, lastly, before I say goodnight, let's check out our poll question. Okay, it's not too late to vote in our poll, but you got to vote fast. You got just a few seconds left to vote if you're in the chat. Do you ever practice songs you don't like? 56% say, yeah, I might learn something. It's a healthy attitude. 31% say never. I understand that attitude because, like, look, life is short, right? 31% just do not practice songs you don't like. 8% said, yeah, you would do it for the right reason, for a friend, for a good cause, right? And 5% other, which I get that too. It's a weird question, right? It's like, Matthew says, are you going to be doing another chord melody book? Hey, Matthew. Yeah, like I just said, volume 2. It's problem solving. It's taking a song and mixing the chords and the melody and trying to keep it in the same key. And that's a little personal preference. So I like the problem solving that goes into it. And you guys actually made some great requests when I did the first volume. By the way, available for an instant download from song-bike.com, song-bike.com. The SongBike Chord-Melody Songbook Vol.1 by me and my yellow guitar. And yeah, volume 2, no promises about when, but for sure I'm going to do it because it's so much fun. All right, you guys, thank you for being here. I'm going to say a few good nights. Sam, thank you for being here. Rock Lobster, Randy, Willie, Joseph, Caddis, Matthew, Winston, Jamie. Jamie says there's good rainbow trout fishing in the Ashokan River, I'm guessing, right? But good to know. Who else is around? Val, Surfer, Norm, Matt, if you guys are still here, thank you for being here. Sorry for any little glitches you might have seen. Randy, thank you for being here. Bruce, thank you for your super chats. I do appreciate it. It all goes to support the cause, and I thank you. All right, you guys, I think we're good to go. No live stream next Saturday. I'm going to be out of town. I should have been mentioning this all along. No live stream next Saturday. I'm so sorry. Those of you who are watching right now, at least you guys know. By the way, follow me on Facebook or Instagram. That's how you get reminders about stuff like no live stream next Saturday. Head over to Facebook or Instagram. Just look for the phrase SongBike, all one word, SONGBIKE, and you'll find my page. Give me a follow, and that's how you'll know if anything happens. So no live stream. Next time I see you will be a new month, March 1st. No live stream. My son is swimming in a college swim tournament, and I'm going to go cheer him on. So no live stream next Saturday. I'll be thinking of you, but stay well. Practice, practice, practice. Don't take any wooden nickels. Make good choices. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. All right. All right, you guys. Take care. See you in a little while.